Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade with the drops guide for Ghorm the Devourer and basically whether or not it's worth farming him. I'm a bit late with this one. I've already shown off boss fights for Asios, Magalus and more. But I feel like I need to complete the series I've already done and I just didn't get around to doing Ghorm. So hopefully this will be helpful for any new players still picking up Core Keeper, or whether or not you didn't realise you could pick up some cool armour like the Cooking Pot set or even an Arcane Staff if you didn't get one to drop from Magalus. So leave a like if you find this video useful, check out the rest of my drop guides and my other Core Keeper stuff I've got going on, and let's go. So the basics, you can take on Ghorm at any time really, as long as you've got a good hoe to remove some of the slime and you venture just in one direction only, you'll eventually hit his wide circle. He will be spawned already, travelling all the way around. You can use the scanner to show where he is, and then that way you can just dive out of his way when he comes round. There's lots of ways you can take him on. One of the best ways I find is just lay in some simple traps. And this is something you've probably done over and over again for a lot of the early stage bosses. You don't need to do absolute hundreds, just enough to trigger him so he doesn't carry on his path. That's what will happen if you try just chasing him or getting a couple hits in. He basically won't stop unless he hits a certain point. Usually about 80% of his health, that's when he'll stop and start circling around to try and get you. If you do manage to get in his way directly, then it probably will instantly kill you as he does 1000 damage. I do recommend either using the wet rain gear, as that will stop your movement being restricted. And if you don't want to lay all these traps, then as long as you get enough powerful hits in and maybe you've got something like the speed ring or the dash feather, you can probably keep up with him just enough to hopefully get enough hits in so that he'll stop and start attacking you. That's what happened here as soon as I did this. And then it's relatively easy. A ranged character is always going to be much better with this one, simply because you can then just stay in the middle of him, and that's the best advice. If you try going in one direction, just like a lot of the other bosses, he will pretty much wander back to where you first hit him, and he'll start regaining his health. You can see he does leave a ton of slime all over the place, that's why you do need something to maybe combat it. If you'd taken on the Hive Mother, you could also combine stuff that you get from that. Basically either the Grub Necklace or the Lava Ring, which allows you to walk over slime without having to worry about losing any speed. And that's pretty much it, just keep waiting on him. I used obviously my Warlock class for much of the beginning, and I've got my Witch Doctor set on pretty much here. The Chieftain set, which is the kind of next one up, although it is quite similar to the Witch Doctor set, it will just offer the chance to get more power and speed out of your minions. So we'll talk about that in a minute, as that's what obviously Ghorm can drop. And as you can see, that's what I was using to full effect, with obviously a crossbow here and letting my magic with my minions do some work, although I didn't have that many. Again, this was an early game recording, so I only had this pet, but I'll be showing you in a minute how good it could be with others. You could go ahead and pack a ton of dynamite and trigger it as he goes by, or have it close to you, but be warned, he can destroy a bunch of structures. So if you ever leave a loot chest thinking you're going to just come back to it later, or don't put any supplies too close to where you're going to be taking him on, as if he destroys the chest, everything inside will be destroyed as well. Melee class is probably going to be maybe not the best option here, as he is quite fast and you will have to keep up with him, but again, you could just hit the back of him and you're relatively safe. It's really only if he catches you full on with his front part of his body that you'll end up getting done in just one shot. And there we go, Ghorm defeated. There's my top tips for taking him on. So what do you get, and why isn't it worth actually farming him? Well, firstly, you are going to have to actually find his summoning stone. It won't be where you killed him. You may have to do a complete run around his full circle to try and find it. You'll definitely know you're close, as it definitely widens out and you'll see almost a second pathway opening up, and there you'll be able to find his runestone. There might even be a lot of grubs nearby, so take care of them first, as you never want any third parties. And of course, to carry on fighting him and farming, you will need to place down the core idol that you got from the very first time you killed him inside a room, and that's how you get the wandering trader, who will then sell you the summoning idols for Lurch and Ghorm. It's been reduced from 500 coins to 200 coins most recently. 100% chance obviously of getting a chest, Ghorm's horn, which obviously you can place in his statue to progress the story, lava meat, Ghorm's stomach bag, and the mysterious idol. Then you've got a good chance of picking up a piece of the Chieftain gear, as I mentioned earlier, 30 max health, 15 magic barrier and 6.1% minion damage. A tunic, 15 max health, 8 magic barrier and 1 extra minion. Chieftain shorts, 15 max health, 7 magic barrier and 11.5 minion attack speed. And if you wear 2 pieces of the armour, you will get 2 max minion count, making it a total of 3 which actually means less than the Witch Doctor set where you can have 4. But if you wore 2 pieces of the Chieftain set, maybe the shorts and the tunic and then the Witch Doctor's hat, you can still have 4 minions and you get extra bonuses in minion life. Now the Chieftain set you can get from many other places, killing larvae, hive chests and more. Likewise the larvae chest piece you can get from other places too, which gives you 27 max health, 14 armour, 28 mining damage. Combined with the larvae helm you can disguise yourself as a larvae but you'll move 5% slower. So maybe as an early game mining gear set you could potentially use this, but as I pointed out earlier it quickly becomes overtaken by other sets later. The lava ring itself does 21 max health, and if you wear it with the grub egg necklace, as I mentioned earlier, it will make you not take any slowdown when walking across slime. But again, it's not exclusive, you can find it when you kill a bunch of larvae and inside some copper chests. So armor wise, what are you really here for? Well, I kind of like the set, the way it looks, the cooking pot. It's a lid and a chest piece. I don't particularly like the actual buffs it gives, but I just kind of think it's comical to wear. 16 armour, 3% critical hit chance, 2% less food drained when running. The cooking pot lid, 15 armour, 3% critical hit chance, 2% less food drained when running, and if you wear both, your well-fed buffs are going to be 84% stronger, meaning you'll have a bit more stamina, move quicker. Both these items are exclusive to killing Ghorm. The critical hit chance isn't bad, and if it had any kind of other buff, I would say it could be something you could use a bit longer. But having just that food drain less, I don't think that's necessarily a great buff. Now, you might have thought I would have made a big deal about the fact you can only get an arcane staff from either Ghorm or Magalus, and chances are you probably come across Ghorm maybe before you've taken on Magalus, as that's roughly the order you should beat them, but it's a smaller percentage chance of actually getting the staff than you do from Magalus. It's about 5 to 6% from Ghorm, where it's 11 to 12% from Magalus. Obviously, if you're determined to be a mage, it might be something you really want to get hold of, as it does 61 to 73 magic damage, 3.3 attacks per second, and 8% critical hit chance, with a mana cost of 5. Flintlock Rifle does 2.7, 253 physical damage, obviously ranged, and then 0.5 attacks per second. It's really slow, I don't particularly like using it, but it is powerful. It is something you've got a smaller chance of getting, literally only less than 1% from killing lots of different cavelins, but you will find it in lots of different chests as well, especially in the Forgotten Ruins. Also got a good chance of finding it actually in larvae chests as well. For sure, if you know what you're doing, especially with critical hit builds later and maximising range, this can be a powerful weapon all the way through to late game. According to the wiki, you can do 2000 damage by the time you've finished upgrading it and maximising it, so that's pretty good. So it might be a project you might want to keep an eye on. The other uber exclusive item is Ghorm's stomach bag, which is pretty good as it gives 12 inventory slots, so bigger than anything you can craft yourself probably at this stage, as well as 30 max health. So other drops you'll probably get are things like iron ore, obviously some fibre, maybe some mechanical parts, and maybe some gold and ancient gems. As said earlier, you probably will pick up regular meat, but you've got a good chance of picking up shiny meat. It's pretty good for critical hit builds and lifesteal, and you've got an also good chance of picking up rare candies too. So a lot of these items I'm leaving till last are a bit more rarer than picking up stuff like the chieftain gear or even the cooking pot stuff. Amber lava is something you can find as a scene, 100% guaranteed chance when you do come across it, otherwise you might find it in hive chests, otherwise Ghorm could be a good way to find it too. Go ahead and cook it and it will give you 50 max health permanently, but only once. And then the hand drill, 1822 physical damage, 5 attacks per second, 85 mining damage. You've got a chance of dropping this from a copper chest as well as the lava hive chest. In fact, that's your best chance is the lava hive chest. And a very special unique decoration piece, the Ceased Explorer, actually acts as a compartment where you can put a helmet on top of him as well as a chest piece slot. It'll only show the helmet, but I still figure it's a cool little thing. Getting this by fishing in some of the waters in the Forgotten Ruins or by getting the Crystal Explorers camp scene. So when all's said and done, is it worth it? You can get the arcane stuff, like I said, a better percentage chance from Magalus, so for that reason probably not. Although it could be argued this is a much easier fight, especially if you put again a bunch of traps down just exactly on the summoning room. Ghorm's bag is definitely really good at this early stage of the game, but since that's a 100% chance of dropping, you don't really need to farm for it. You have got more chance of picking up the hand drill and the amber larvae from other places too, and you heard my reasons for some of the other gear, so I won't repeat myself. it's okay, fun boss fight to do. With Ghorm only having 8,000 max health, it's not exactly that great either for levelling up. And to boil it down, at this stage of the game, by the time you've defeated him, is it worth going ahead and farming him afterwards? 200 coins per summons? I'm not too sure. I feel like I've said that for a lot of the early game bosses. I guess it all just depends on how lucky you've got with certain drops, and how much whether or not you race towards Ghorm to take him on, or you've killed a lot of other creatures to get some of the other stuff like the chieftain set. But yeah, as boss fights go, once you find the actual summoning room, which will probably be the hardest thing, if you've got an abundance of coins, then maybe sure, go ahead and do it. Max out your Warlock gear sets, or if you really want an easier way of trying to get the staff if you're having trouble with Malagus. There we go, that's my hot take and that's my guide to Ghorm. Let me know if it's helped you, go and check out the rest of the videos as I mentioned, and let me know what type of videos you want to see me cover and make next. I will be moving on from now. I've covered pretty much all the beginning game bosses as well as all the slime bosses in guides, so I'm going to be taking a look at the next route you should be doing in terms of the Hydras and endgame. Thanks a lot for watching and I'll see you ratbags later.